the way they're playing at the moment, yes, you can say it's only Werder Bremen. Yes, you can say it's only Dynamo Zagreb, and so on and so on. But how they're playing now, Marcus, it's enormous. I mean, Olise, wow, he looks like the best player ever on the earth.
Hi and welcome to the Fußball channel. I'm your host Markus Fjørtoft, and as always joined by Jan Fjørtoft. Come the long way back home from Manchester, where you were, Dad, for the City Arsenal game. Nothing big happened there after all, so
no.
You can provide a quick little summary on that before we go into the Bundesliga. But yeah, tell us about your weekend, how it's been, where you've been, before we go into what has been yet another entertaining Bundesliga weekend.
And for those who not want to know this, but Marcus is an Arsenal supporter, so he will probably come back to that Trossard situation all the time.
Never.
I was in studio for Viaplay on Saturday, the whole day there. It's a long and intense day with good colleagues, but the main thing is that you can follow all football all around Europe. So I will follow. We had 3 main games, and then in between you're looking at all the games that in Norwegian time at 4 o'clock, English time 3 o'clock. So you follow all them, but of course I followed the Bundesliga as well. And there was a very intense Bundesliga Spieltag around this one around. And we will speak about today in terms of Bayern and Leverkusen, it will build up to the big one on Saturday, where Bayern will play the reigning champion, Bayer Leverkusen. So I think we should all see that in a context.
Absolutely, and what a matchup it will be, and what 2 games they served up in Bayern Munich and Bayer Leverkusen. But let's start with Bayern Munich, because the football that we've seen from Bayern Munich so far this season, we've had endless discussions about Kompany and coming in and what led to it and whatnot. But we are pretty, I say, reasonable people in the sense that we also have to give praise when praise is due, and when things go less so, we will also discuss it in the same vein. But what we must say now, that is the impact Kompany's had, the way Bayern are playing right now, is very reminiscent of the old Bayern, in the sense that you go to these games and it's just no doubt whatsoever who the winning team is. If you see these stats from the game, Werder Bremen had in the statistic, it was 0-0-0-0 shots on goal, expected goals even. It was a dominant performance and a continuation of how they performed so far this season, but also especially over these last 7 days where they've been prolific.
Yeah, 3 wins, 23 goal difference. And you're right. When we think of a game on Saturday, Leverkusen game, the big one, the Bayern again, Bayer, then we think of it as Leverkusen want to do the same as last season. Bayern don't want to do it like last season. And they are good at that. Because I'm doubtful, or I'm not doubtful, but I was skeptic if Kompany got the thing when it goings get tough. Because to be a Bayern manager is much more than what you do, winning games. There's also the politics, there's all the lobbying, there's always the people in and around the club. But 100%, Marcus, the way they're playing at the moment, yes, you can say it's only Werder Bremen. Yes, you can say it's only Dynamo Zagreb, and so on and so on. But how they're playing now, Marcus, it's enormous. I mean, Olise, wow, he looks like the best player ever on the earth. Musiala, I mean, spritzig. He's like every time he gets the ball, he's so contagious for everybody. You have Kimmich in there, who looks like he got the trust though from Nagelsmann. He got the trust from Kompany. He looks like the leader, everybody with a big L. This is the leader that Bayern wanted to have. And then you mix it up with a Kane, who not only score his goals that he's doing brilliantly, but keep the ball up, and so on and so on. And then you have Müller. You have a bench that you can put on. So at this moment, it looks very, very good for Bayern. And I'm with you, Marcus. Bayern are back. Bayern are back where they used to be, where you used to winning titles, but also the way they are playing. Because Bayern, like a lot of top teams, they can win titles without being fantastic. And at Bayern, you need to be fantastic. And so far, so good for Kompany. First test now against Leverkusen. Are they the favorites going in there? Yes, Bayern are the favorites. How are they doing? Yes, they have been a bit let me say, vulnerable at the back, which can be a problem against Leverkusen, because Leverkusen got many goal scorers in different departments of the team. Seeing this weekend with Ter scoring, there are defenders what possible to score. But yes, I have no problem to just give a big compliment to Kompany, and I talked to my good friend Rafa Honigstein. We met at Etihad and we talked about Bayern, and he said to me, but have a look at the stats as well. They are running so much more than they used to do. So the intensity and the speed and the energy, I think that is the most impressive thing, that they are good footballers, we know, that they are players that can do all these kind of technical things and score goals, we knew. But now Kompany has managed to do that. So great times now for Bayern after, I must say, a couple of seasons where they've been a bit off.
Absolutely. And Harry Kane, who by the way now became the highest scoring Englishman in the Bundesliga, he made a comment with regards to the point you were making on Kompany. There is the emphasis on being relentless. After you get the first, second goal, Kompany's asked them to keep going. And it was the Werder Bremen sporting director who said they didn't give us any chance, because even in the 88th minute, 89th minute, by the way, when Gnabry scored the fifth, Kompany was urging them to go on. And obviously it's more complex than this, but in terms of the demand and the precedent set by Kompany now within this Bayern team, it's certainly one in which they needed, because like you say, they've been languishing now the last 2 seasons, kind of in a downward spiral, but now really picked them up. And yes, it's against Holstein Kiel, yes, it's against Dinamo Zagreb, etc., but still needs to be done. You still need to play them, and the ultimate matchup now being against the reigning champions, which will be such a good indicator of where Bayern is at. But also, and maybe that game perhaps maybe comes a bit too early for Leverkusen's sake, because bear in mind they win again, again late on, and the mentality is fantastic. They win 4-3 against Wolfsburg, but again look shaky. 9 goals conceded so far in this league season. 24 goals conceded was the total from last season. And we know this in terms of, yes, they were very good last season, but part of that was their defensive solidity. You know this. You don't win anything by leaking goals, which they currently are. So that matchup will be very interesting, I think, for us to assess. But in terms of the Leverkusen game, Dad, how do you see it, and where do you see Alonso now in terms of the phase that they find themselves in?
I think that it's easier to define the position of Leverkusen, because, as we said before the season, for Leverkusen, they are the reigning champion, but they're still the hunter. Bayern will still be the favorite to win, and that's why Kompany is urging going forward, because some of the problems Bayern Munich have had is that their body language has been good, not been good. I love the way contagious, because I want players out there. You see Leverkusen, when they have these spells, they always feel they can go on. And that is a skill of a top team. As for Manchester City now against Arsenal, okay, it's in the last minute ever, because that's luck. But that is a consequence of a culture at the club, and that's what Kompany wants to get back. As for Leverkusen, I think that they're quite happy with their situation where they are. It takes a bit of time to get that going, but still they have a chance to go to Bayern and being the outsider against Bayern Munich as a reigning champion. That is not a bad position to be in.
No, and in many ways you could have maybe have seen it if you were operating with a little foresight in terms of that Leverkusen result at the Allianz Arena last season, when Palacios scored that last gasp.
That was
penalty.
A key game, Marcus. That was a key moment.
Exactly.
I was there. I didn't see many games last season live because I was doing Premier League, but I was there. That was a key game. Remember that game? It was a fantastic football game. It was a black-white game. Bayern much better, Leverkusen much better. Then you had a great free kick and so on. So yeah, we can all look forward to this game on Saturday.
And someone that Leverkusen certainly will be needing, and who has certainly delivered this season, is Florian Wirtz. And the levels at which he is performing at, a goal now in the win against Wolfsburg as well. And you look at his average ratings, it's rather remarkable. And I think it's important to bear in mind that some of the players that the Bundesliga has are some of the brightest young players in the world. obviously a Musiala, a Florian Wirtz, and brings me into it. And I think maybe gone a bit under the radar, but Stuttgart beating Dortmund 5-1. And for those who haven't seen the highlights of this, Undav was on fire, Demirovic, who they got from Augsburg to replace Guirassy, also firing all cylinders. But they also had Enzo Millot, the 22-year-old from Monaco, who found himself through the Monaco ranks, had to fight for a spot, was behind the likes of a Fabregas and Tchouaméni, who's now at Real Madrid. And then part of Stuttgart's recruiting is they brought him in the 21-22 season, struggled with injuries, came back to help them score a 2 goals against Hamburg when they secured their spot, was key in their season last season, sort of his breakthrough season in many ways. And then now against Dortmund, I mean, wow. And the goal for the 5th goal, the solo effort there for the assist is incredible. And they were just all over Dortmund. Nuri Sahin, got a reminder of senior football as such. But even with Waldemar Anton, that was his Stuttgart last season, even with Sergio Guirassy there, even with Pascal Gross, a German international, and etc., Dortmund keep Dortmunding.
And I think that, Marcus, when we do the analysis of this game, you have to think both. You have to give a big compliment to Stuttgart, because often it's like we have a go at a big club like Dortmund. They should not lose 5-1. They've been struggling with their consistency, being that they should be the main challenger to Bayern. Then they see Bayer Leverkusen winning, and as you were saying, this was some old guys coming back, and they just see what Stuttgart can still do. Sebastian Hoeneß has done a fantastic job there, but I think we will probably we have to do a special about this Dortmund thing, because Dortmund, it's all about the culture. It's nothing to do with Şahin being good or a bad coach. It's not about Ter Stegen being good or a bad coach. By the way, Ter Stegen took them to the Champions League final. So it's a matter of defined roles at the club. Sebastian Kehl, their sport director, was out and having a go at their team afterwards, as he should. 5-1 at the end. The Dortmund fans were more or less gone, at least mentally gone, because they thought, what's going on here? And as you were saying, this way of playing with Sebastian Hoeneß, his teams will always play well. There is this power, there is this thing that he's going for. And your friend Undav, who you've always loved, scored the first and the last one out there, and they just went for it, and that is very, very impressive. And as for Dortmund, 5-1, wow! When you see in a round Leverkusen doing what Leverkusen can, score in the last 90 plus 3 or 4, whatever it was, Boniface. You have Leipzig 0-0 against Union. You have Dortmund losing 5-1 to Stuttgart. So the main challenges, and we were thinking and hoping that this season there should be 3-4 contenders for the Bundesliga title. But we have to be honest, so far, only Bayern have convinced of the candidates for the title.
No, it's a good point. And just on Stuttgart as well. Remember, we're only 4 games in, but they were a bit shaky in the beginning. Lost against Freiburg, played 3-3 at home to Mainz, and so there was that bit of apprehension as sorts. But then now Hoeneß has got them going again, and they had a great midweek Champions League game against Real Madrid, where they should have they led deservedly, but they should have, or they equalized. I'm sorry, but they should have probably gotten more out of the game than a loss. So it's they're onto something as such, even though there were calls for maybe certain improvements, especially in the back, having lost an Anton, having lost an Ito, etc. But yes, Bayern are the only top teams that are convinced, and in the vacuum, so to speak, of these other proposed title contenders, we have other teams stepping into it. And how lovely is that one of them being, yes, Freiburg, who won against Heidenheim away, Vincenzo Grifo, getting better, aging like fine wine, 2 goals. And then we have Eintracht, who also there were question marks surrounding. But since that loss to Dortmund in the first league game of the season, Eintracht have won 3 straight on the trot, and they are now on 9 points out of a possible 12. Larsson and Marmoush scoring them in their 2-0 win against Gladbach.
Marmoush's 4th goal of the season. Larsson, Swede, 2 goals, 20 years of age. Then you have Ekitiki that they got from PSG.
Yeah.
They got a lot of offensive player going forward. And remember, when we started this season, Eintracht Frankfurt, and I say it again, had a good season last season in terms of the table position, but Topmuller was a bit under pressure from the fans because there is an expression of Eintracht, and it's my club, so it's like when you talk about Arsenal, you're never neutral, but it's your club as well in Germany, as you did your first game in football, Marcus, for Eintracht Frankfurt. So they call it Launische Diva. So it's a diva. They always had great players like Grabowski, Hülsenbein, Müller, Uwe Bein. And they got so many great players when they never won titles. So they were always stumbled, but they always had a great. Well, they won a cup and a UEFA Cup and things like that, which is not bad. But this should be a club that have a lot of league trophies, and they haven't. So the expectations are high. I think it's a surprise for a lot of coaches and people coming to Eintracht Frankfurt because this is a part of a Finanzmetropole. It's a finance city. It's a city of economy, a lot of banks and everything. But the passion for football, Marcus, is unbelievable, and it's a great passion in the stadium. And now Dino Topmuller has get them going. And when I see they play now, there is energy in there. They know the clean sheet and all those kind of things. And then you have Marcus Krösche, who managed to get players in, make good deals, make good money for them. Things are looking bright for Eintracht Frankfurt, and long may it continue.
And that despite being without their captain, Kevin Trapp, and in has come a young Brazilian in Kawa, former Flamengo product, and now it's calls whether he's actually, is this the permanent replacement for Trapp now after he comes back from his injury? But yeah, just to conclude then, Eintracht win against Gladbach, and then we have St. Pauli, Bochum, and Holstein Kiel all earning their first points of the season. Holstein Kiel, their first ever Bundesliga point, as they equalize late against Bochum. St. Pauli hold RB Leipzig to a draw, and then Union Berlin, who actually have had a very good start, 8 points out of a possible 12, beat Hoffenheim. But on the goalkeeper discussion, from one thing to another, we must conclude with the fact that Marc-André Ter Stegen, the Barcelona goalkeeper, the new Germany #1 after Manuel Neuer had retired from the national team, has now suffered a serious injury, out for 7 to 8 months. What now, Dad, for Germany? Is Manuel Neuer, will he get the call back, or will they use this as yet another fresh start?
Yeah, we are recording this just before we get on about Rodri maybe have a crucial ligament. It's not confirmed by the club yet. Marca, the big Spanish paper, is reporting this. Let's hope it's wrong. But when people listen to this, they will know if that's right. Then you have Ter Stegen. Finally, it was his turn now to be #1 for Germany. And as you were saying, this is impractical. The new season. I think they will, going back to Stuttgart market, Alexander Nübel, who is owned by Bayern Munich and seen as the replacement for Manuel Neuer at Bayern. I think that he will get a nod from Nagelsmann. Remember, it was not like Manuel Neuer said, "Yeah, I'm so 100% clear. There's no one who can talk me into stay at the national team." I think he was told that you won't be 100% clear that you want to be there. And Ter Stegen, to be fair to him, he's been patient. He got a great attitude. He has played well for Barcelona. So this is bad news for them. The thing with Marcus, is Germany, they have a lot of good goalkeepers. And Ortega, who is the second goalkeeper of Manchester City, he can't get even in the squad. So I think they're sorted. But I think as it is now, Marcus, they will go for Nübel as the first goalkeeper. There's no use for Neuer to come in and play some Nation League. If it would be a World Cup next summer, I think that they would have put him on speed dial, because then they will need him in a big tournament. But as for now, I think they will going to want to build up a new goalkeeper, because now Neuer can't go on forever. We just forgot one result, Marcus. I would just say before we leave is Mainz. Mainz
yes.
winning
the
in
Friday
Augsburg.
game.
Yeah, and why I wanted to just end on that is that Denmark is looking for a new national coach, and Bo Henriksen, the manager of Mainz, is one of the hottest candidates there. He has said before that it was one of his dreams to be a national coach for his country. That would be a big loss for Mainz if they want to leave him now, because he's one of the guys with his energy that has impressed us. Yeah, love his energy, and so he could be one of the candidates. He is one of the candidates, and then we'll see who will get the Danish job, as they are looking for a new one.
Yeah, it would have been a massive loss for Mainz, considering the turnaround he had on them last season when they were close to buried. And despite the good impact he's had, it was actually their first win of the season. 2 goals from Burkhardt, to mention a few other goal scorers. And just to also mention, it's the start of the Europa League this week. So Hoffenheim, they play Midtjylland, and Eintracht Frankfurt, they play Victoria Pilsen, as the Europa League takes on a similar format to the Champions League. That, I think, with that, we conclude our Bundesliga recap, so to speak. Bayern are back, and with that, they get their first proper test, if we may, the first top clash between the the perennial champions as such, Bayern Munich, against the reigning champions, Bayer Leverkusen, and how we look forward to that and the episode that follows. But for now, Dad, auf Wiedersehen.
And I will just say that I've been at Victoria Pilsen, and I was there when Pilsen played Bayern. So this is a great place. Come on, Frankfurt, we have to win this one. But yes, we're building up to the big one, Marcus. This is the big test for Kompany, and the bizarre situation that the teams that were number 3 in the league last season are the favorites, and Leverkusen put themselves in a position to be hunters.